गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल इन डेप्थ एजुकेशन। बहुत दिन से वीडियो नहीं बना पाए, तबीयत का थोड़ा इशू हो गया था। बुखार आने लगा, तबीयत ठीक नहीं था। तो आई होप कि आप पिछला क्लासेस को रिवीजन कर रहे हैं और ये नोट्स नोट डाउन कर रहे हैं। तो रिवीजन इज द की टू सक्सेस। एक ही बुक को जितना बार पढ़िएगा उतना आपके ब्रेन में वो क्लैरिटी होगा, रिमेम्बरिंग और मेमोरी पावर बढ़ेगा। तो समय को व्यर्थ ना गवाते हुए आज सेकेंड एंग्लो मराठा वार से पढ़ेंगे हम लोग। लास्ट में फर्स्ट एंग्लो मराठा वार वी हैड कंप्लीटेड। टुडे second Anglo Maratha War. After Peshwa Madhavrao Narayan commits suicide, Bajirao II, son of Raghunath Rao, became the Peshwa. So who became the Peshwa? Now Bajirao II, who was actually the son of Raghunath Rao, he was also Peshwa. So he took the charge. Nana Padnavis, bitter enemy of Bajirao II. So Nana Padnavis, who was the bitter enemy of Bajirao II, became the chief minister. So naturally, एक clash था दोनों में. So this differences, the clash between these two was advantageous for the English. Death of Nana Padnavis also was added as an advantage. तो नाना फडणवीस के गुजरने के बाद भी that become an added advantage for the Britishers to actually mold down them. How did the war begin? Peshwa murdered the brother of Jaswantrao Holkar, Vituji. Furious Jaswantrao arranged force against Bajirao II and Sindhia. So Vituji ko they murdered. So these two you know, uh, Bajirao II and Sindhia were on one side. So against them, उन लोगों के अगेंस्ट में कुछ फोर्स भेजा गया. Who arranged the force? जशवंत राव, क्योंकि उनके भाई को मतलब मर्डर कर दिया गया था. And placed विनायक राव and defeated them. उन लोगों को डिफीट कर दिया गया and placed विनायक राव son अमृता राव on पेशवा seat. So before that, Bajirao II was in the charge, and now after defeating him, Amrita Rao, who was actually Vinayak Rao's son, came to the throne. Bajirao fled to Basin and signed the treaty with English. So बाजीराव टू वहां से भाग गए. भागने के बाद उन्होंने इंग्लिश के साथ एक समझौता कर लिया. Treaty of Basin, which was actually done by Bajirao II and the English between them. Peshwa agreed. Peshwa agreed to what all things? Number one, to receive from the company a native infantry. Okay, native infantry to be stationed permanently at his territory. So एक small group of warriors रहेगा जो actually will be stationed at Bajirao II's area with the expense of the Peshwas itself. To cede to the company territories yielding an income of rupees 26 lakh. सो जो एरियाज में 26 लाख का बिजनेस होता था वो सब आपको इंग्लिश को सौंप देना पड़ेगा. 3, टू सरेंडर द सिटी ऑफ सूरत. सूरत को आपको छोड़ देना पड़ेगा. Like these all the treaties that in the Treaty of Basin it is said, and all these are signed by the Peshwas. 4, to give up all the claims of Chauth. Chauth is a type of tax on the Nizam's dominion. To accept the company's arbitration in all differences between him and Nizam or Gaikwad. Gaikwad, a small a small entity or a group of people who actually belong to Nizam of Hyderabad. Okay, so they had to accept all the company's treaty and policy. Okay, and all the differences between him and the Nizam of Hyderabad should be sorted out. Not to keep in his employment Europeans of any nation at war with English. So very important, English के साथ कुछ भी लड़ाई हो, कोई भी तरह का लड़ाई हो, उसमें none of the countries, European employment of European of any nation, कोई भी यूरोपियन किसी भी कंट्री का नहीं रख सकता है. Subject his relations to other states to the control of English. Okay. After the Peshwa accepted subsidiary alliance, लास्ट में पेशवा को सब्सिडरी अलायंस एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ा क्योंकि बिकॉज दे वर फोर्स्ड. सिंधिया एंड भोसले ट्राई टू सेव मराठाज इंडिपेंडेंस. मराठा के इंडिपेंडेंस उन्होंने लाइक दे वांटेड टू प्रोटेक्ट दैट बट दे वर नॉट सक्सेसफुल इन इट, बट वर डिफीटेड बाय द इंग्लिश. ओके, अंडर द आर्मी ऑफ आर्थर वेलेस्ली. they were reduced to British vassalages and isolated from one another. So these were the consequences results. Treaty of Devgaon, Treaty of Surin-Jianjiangao, and Treaty of Rajpur Ghat. So defeat of Bhosle and defeat of Scindia and defeat of Holkar resulted in Treaty of Devgaon, Treaty of Surajjangaon, Treaty of Rajpur Ghat. Significance of Treaty of Basin. Treaty of Basin का क्या significance रहा है? English troops were kept in Maratha territory and was of great success and benefit. ट्रीटी ऑफ बसीन में लास्ट पीडीएफ में मैंने अभी बताया कि एक स्मॉल ट्रूप ऑफ आर्मी विल बी देयर इन द एरिया ऑफ द Peshwas, and this acted as a great advantage for the English company as well as placed in order to expand their area influence. Treaty gave the English the key to India. So very good. This was a key to India. Third Anglo-Maratha War. When Maratha became weak, gradually Marathas became weak. The Pindaris, made of many castes and classes, who were mercenaries of Marathas. So there were small branches of Marathas which were gradually becoming very weak. ये लोग भी छोटे छोटे जाति प्रजाति हैं जो लोग मराठा में ही बिलोंग करते हैं. So they were also becoming very weak, which could not get in a regular employment. उन लोग को employment नहीं मिलता था. As a result, they started plundering the company. तो opposite में क्या होने लगा? They started to loot the company. Company मतलब the British company. The English charged the Maratha because of giving shelter to Pindaras. So मराठा के मर्सिनरी को मराठा के एरिया में ही रखा जाएगा, कोई बाहर के एरिया में तो रखा नहीं जाएगा. तो इसके लिए क्या हुआ, उन लोगों को शेल्टर जो दिया जा रहा था, that was not accepted to British. So they were treated that as if they were supporting the mercenaries and not the English one. Treaty of Basin wounded the feeling of other Marathas. Bajirao too made the last beat by rallying together the Maratha chief against the English in the course of Third Anglo-Maratha War. So the last attempt by Bajirao too was made in Third Anglo-Maratha War. The Peshwa attacked the British presidency, but the political and administrative condition of all Maratha states were confused and inefficient. Slowly, everything became inefficient, and that too was very confusing. What were the results of Third Anglo-Maratha War? The Peshwa were defeated. Unfortunately, they were defeated at Khirke, Bhonsle at Sitaduli, and Holkar at Mahidpur. What were the consequences, treaties, and the results? Treaty of Pune with the Peshwa, Treaty of Gwalior with Scindia, Treaty of Mandsaur with Holkar. Especially in this section, you need to revise a lot, because all these treaties and all these wars are important. And to end a war, in the last class itself I had said that to end a war, some sort of agreement, some sort of treaties and कुछ समझौता किया जाता है. तो कोई भी वार का एंड कैसे हो रहा है, कौन कौन से ट्रीटी से हो रहा है, यू नीड टू रिमेम्बर दैट. And this will only come with continuous revision and repeated revisions. Reasons why Maratha lost. All these things are easy. Just go on with it and try to remember things. Clumsy leadership, defective nature of Maratha state, loose political setup, inferior military system, unstable economic policy, superior English diplomacy and espionage, progressive English outlook. So these were the probable reasons why Maratha lost. So after the loss of Maratha comes the picture of the Sindh. Sindh means that Balochistan, Afghanistan side, the northwestern frontier. Okay, early 19th century, the English started to show some interest in Sindh. So English ने इंडिया में तो राज जमा ही लिया. So धीरे धीरे they started to have interest in northwest region also, and enjoyed some trade facility authorized by the Farman of the Mughal emperor. Okay, rise of Talpura's Amirs. In 1717, a Baluch tribe. Baluch tribe means a small group of community that belongs to the Baluchistan area. Descended from hills and settled in the plains of Sindh. They were excellent soldiers. Under the leadership of Mir Fateh Ali Khan, established complete hold over Sindh. So a good soldier, brave and efficient, very disciplined. Under the leadership of Mir Fateh Ali Khan, they had a complete hold over the area of Sindh and sent the Kalor, who were Kalor. Were the one who used to rule Sindh before Talpuras. So Talpuras के सिंध में आने से पहले Kalor was a community who was ruling the Sindh. So Kalor के ruling sorry इस तालपुरास के आने के बाद कलोर का रूल खत्म हो गया एंड दैट कलोर प्रिंस वाज सेंट टू एग्जाइल. एग्जाइल मतलब कहीं उसको जंगल में भेज देना. Durrani monarch confirmed the claim of Mir Fateh Khan and ordered the latter to share company with his country with his brother known as Charyar. So ठीक है, सिंध में कब्जा बनाने के बाद ये कंफर्म हो गया कि वो कंट्री आपको शेयर करना पड़ेगा किसके साथ, 4 यार के साथ, जो चारों भाई थे. When Mir died, the Charyar divided the kingdom among themselves and called themselves the Amirs or Lords. So Mir फतेह अली खान के गुजरने के बाद ये 4 ब्रदर्स ने अपने आप को रूलर्स एंड अमीर विद द टाइटल ऑफ अमीर दे डिक्लेयर्ड देमसेल्फ. अमीर का टाइटल उन्होंने ले लिया और अपने आप में उन्होंने डिवाइड कर लिया वो टेरिटरी को. ग्रेजुअल एसेडेंसी ओवर सिंध. सो सिंध में धीरे धीरे कैप्चर होने लगा. So according to common belief, Napoleon and Tipu were conspiring to invade India. Some historians also believe this. Lord Wellesley's efforts to receive commercial relations with Sindh was a hidden aim to counteract the alliance of French, Tipu Sultan and Shah Jahan, the Kabul monarch. So Lord Wellesley, who was the Governor General, so इनका ये एक एफर्ट था, ये एक प्रयास था कि इन तीनों का अलायंस टूट जाए. किसका? फ्रेंच का, टीपू सुल्तान का और शाह जमीन जो काबुल में उस समय मोनार्की चला रहे थे. इन तीनों का इन तीनों का अलायंस टूट जाए, इसके पीछे लॉर्ड वेलेस्ली ने अपना बहुत लाइक ही ट्राइड अ लॉट. Negotiations were made with Fateh Ali Khan under the influence of Tipu Sultan, and jealousy of local leaders aided by anti-British, who were anti-British, the Hyderabad people, and Amir ordered the British to quit Sindh. So सिंध के बाद सिंध में आमिर लोगों का इतना जम गया कि they finally said the British to quit Sindh. The British agent Crow left Sindh and company suffered the insult. So Crow को उस जगह से छोड़ के जाना पड़ा. क्रो एक एजेंट थे ब्रिटिश के. इट वाज द ही वाज गिवन द नेम एज क्रो. वो मजबूरन से सिंध उनको छोड़ना पड़ा और कंपनी को बहुत इंसल्ट भी झेलना पड़ा. सो ट्रीटी ऑफ इटर्नल फ्रेंडशिप. फ्रेंडशिप बिटवीन होम? फ्रेंडशिप बिटवीन फ्रेंच एंड रशिया. Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of French, and Alexander I of Russia signed Treaty of Tilsit. कौन सा treaty? Treaty of Tilsit. This alliance combined to invade India by land routes. So इन दोनों ने पूरा प्रयास किया, पूरा तैयारी से कि we will invade India, will conquer India via only land routes. British wanted to create barrier between themselves and the Russia. So ब्रिटिश का यहाँ दबदबा ऑलरेडी पहले से था. So they wanted to create a barrier between themselves and the Russians. To achieve this, तो इस चीज को प्लान करने के लिए they had sent Lord Minto with 3 delegations. किसको? मेटकाफ, एल्फिंस्टोन एंड मेलकॉम. तीनों को अलग अलग जगह भेजा गया. मेटकाफ को भेजा गया लाहौर में, एल्फिंस्टोन को भेजा गया काबुल में, मेलकॉम को सेंड कर दिया, उनको भेजा गया तेहरान में. सिंध वाज विजिटेड बाय निकोलस स्मिथ, who made the armies to conclude defensive agreement. So निकोलस स्मिथ के साथ सिंध का भी एक समझौता हुआ बिटवीन डिफेंसिव एग्रीमेंट्स. कौन कितना आर्मी रखेगा, कौन कहाँ से अटैक कर सकता है, कौन किसको किस जगह पे प्रोटेक्शन देगा, इसके बारे में निकोलस स्मिथ के साथ उनका कुछ एग्रीमेंट हुआ. आफ्टर नेगोशिएशन, पहले ये लोग लाइक दे वर नॉट विलिंग टू साइन द ट्रीटी, बट अल्टीमेटली दे वर कन्विंस्ड बाय इट एंड दे हैड फाइनली साइन दैट. Armies agreed to the treaty, first ever treaty with the armies. So which was the first treaty? This was the Treaty of Eternal Friendship that was signed between the Sindh and the British. After professing eternal friendship, both sides agreed to exclude French from English. So दोनों मिला के उन्होंने ये डिसीजन लिया कि we will exclude we will expel French from this area of Sindh. Treaty of 1832, most important part of this chapter. Whatever happened in Treaty of 1832. In 1832, William Bentinck sent Colonel Pontigar to Sindh to sign the treaty with Amir. सो विलियम बेंटिक ने भेजा कर्नल को, कहा सिंध भेजा कि वो आप आमिर आमिर लोगों के साथ कुछ यू मेक सम ट्रीटी treaty in which sections, what were the provisions? Free passage through Sindh would allow to English traders and use of Indus for trading. So क्या हुआ, फ्री पैसेज, कोई तरह का टैक्स टोल नहीं भरना पड़ेगा, तो इंग्लिश लोगों को दे हैड अ गुड रूट फॉर ट्रेडिंग बिटवीन सिंध and the Indus area. No English merchant would settle down in Sindh. कोई भी इंग्लिश मर्चेंट सिंध के एरिया में सेटल डाउन करे नहीं करेगा, एंड पासपोर्ट वुड बी नीडेड फॉर ट्रैवलिंग. ट्रीटी में ये लिखा गया कि यू कैन यूज द पैसेज, बट passport is required for it. Tariff rates could be altered by the amirs if found high, and no military dues or tolls would be demanded. Very easy. Same way tolls नहीं लिया जाएगा. Same thing, tariff rate मतलब the tax rate could be increase or decrease as per the situation and as per the convenience how Amir feels. The Amirs would work with Raja of Jodhpur. The old treaties were confirmed and the parties would not be jealous of each other. So the treaties were mutually acceptable by both, and they agreed that we won't be jealous of each other. Lord Auckland and Sindh. Lord Auckland, who became the Governor General, looked at Sindh. So he was very wise. He looked at Sindh. How did he? At what perspective? In what perspective he saw the area Sindh? Perspective of saving India from the Russian invasion and Afghan strong influence. So Sindh was the barrier. Like if you have a strong hold in Sindh, you can save India from the Russian and French invasion. So he was very wise enough to trace that. Ranjit Singh in Punjab was strong to face the Amins. English thought that they had to consolidate their position in Sindh. So naturally, इंग्लिश ने सोचा कि हम लोगों को सिंध में एक अच्छा पोजीशन अपने आप में बनाना पड़ेगा. When Ranjit Singh captured Rojan town in Sindh, Pontigar was sent to Hyderabad to sign treaty with Amir. Initially refused to sign, but the latter signed it. The only condition, treaty sign करने के पीछे बस एक ही condition था, that Amirs will be protected, that the companies too would be kept in the capital at the expense of Amir. So आमिर लोगों को they will be protected, पूरा सुरक्षा दिया जाएगा. The only condition was that the army will be living in the places of armies, and all the expenses will be borne by the army and not by the British. English were permitted to intervene in the dispute between Amir and Sikh. Tripartite Treaty 1838. This is also one of the important sections. Ranjit Singh signed his treaty agreeing to British mediation in his dispute with Amir. Last PDF में ही हमने पढ़ा कि English were permitted. What were they permitted? They were permitted to intervene in the disputes between Amir and Sikh. Okay. So Ranjit Singh signed the treaty agreeing to British mediation in his dispute with Amir. Shah Shuja gave up its right on Sindh. The main objective of the British was to obtain finance for the Afghan adventure to obtain Amir's territory. So treaty was signed, and he accepted that, okay, no problem. Like they can come and interfere in my internal matters. So I don't have any problem in it. Okay. सिंध एक्सेप्ट सब्सिडरी अलायंस. सिंध ने लास्ट में सब्सिडरी अलायंस एक्सेप्ट कर लिया. Sindh were compelled to accept the subsidiary alliance. Thus, Amirs were debarred from having any negotiation with foreign states without the knowledge of company. So, subsidiary alliance unko they were compelled to sign that. Capitulation of Sindh. First Anglo-Afghan war fought on the soil of Sindh was not at all liked by the Amirs of Sindh, but under the treaty, Sindh were compelled to pay for the war. In spite of not loving it and not not at all interested in it, still they had to pay all the indemnity and for the loss of the war. In spite of their contribution, सिंध ने बहुत हेल्प किया ब्रिटिश को, बट दे वर नॉट रिवार्डेड. इंस्टेड दे वर चार्ज ऑफ ट्रेचरी एंड misbehaving, and not on the British side. They were charged of these allegations. Armies were charged with treasonable activities against the British. In this pretext, what happened? Ellen Borog, placed in the precarious position due to Afghan war reverses, sends Othram to Sindh to negotiate and sign a treaty. So, as a result, what happens? Othram agent was sent to Sindh for negotiation. Okay. Under the treaty, armies were required to cede its important province. So treaty में क्या क्या था? Sindh were required to cede important provinces, to supply fuel to the company's steamers, and to stop the minting of coins. So all these three conditions were kept in the treaty. Slowly, the whole Sindh was capitulated, and the Amirs were made captive and banished from Sindh. Ultimately, those were expelled from that area, and Sindh was captured. Under Governor General N. Borok, Sindh was merged into British Empire, and Charles Napier was appointed as the first governor. Um just like short note, he was given the he was given the uh, charge of the British. It was merged with the British, and Charles Napier was appointed. Criticism. What were the criticism of the conquest of Sindh? Historians generally condemn the acquisition of Sindh by the British. In the first Afghan war, the English suffered terribly in the hands of Afghan, and to compensate that, they had annexed the Sindh. Very easy टॉपिक. रिवाइज इज 2-3 टाइम्स, 2-3 बार पढ़िए, नाम याद हो जाएगा. रिवीजन इज द की टू सक्सेस. बार बार रिवाइज करते रहिए. That's all for today. If you are new to this channel, please do like, share, and subscribe. And take care of yourselves. Thank you.